All right. Well, either way, here we are.
What's up, man?
What up? What up? What up? What up? What up? No music, just straight to it, getting straight to the bag, as the kids will say. You know what I'm saying? How you doing, Sean?
I'm doing great, man. Seems like it's been very eventful this past week, man. Got some people that are happy, some people that are very upset, some fan bases that are upset. You know what I'm saying? Some players that are speaking their mind when you put a microphone in front of them. We got everything. We got a little bit of everything right now, man.
Yeah. This was an excellent week of football, man. It was like one of the best weeks of football that I've seen in a little while. Um,
Hmm.
like just
What's up?
he said they would have played. They would have copyrighted me in 5 seconds. You see, I didn't. I ain't have no music
Hey,
today.
look.
Let that shit go. Nope. No, nothing today,
Yo,
boy.
you would have heard boom, bam, 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 bam. That shit would have got cut off right there. That would have been it. But 5 seconds into the album.
But yeah, dog. I was going to
Yeah.
actually. It's funny because I was actually going to play that Ab Soul, um,
Yeah.
but because I really like that Ab Soul album, that Ab Soul, and that one song is just absolutely crazy. Um, Shit, I forget the name now. I forget the name of the song. But yeah, that Ab Soul shit is everything. Um, Hold on. Let me pull up our theme music.
I know we were having this conversation um, off the screen, but I feel like just bringing it up right now. I looked that up for you, Mark, the Brett Favre thing.
Hmm.
I said they didn't make it to the AFC Championship. They did make it to the AFC Championship that year. They
Yeah, so
lost in
you
the AFC Championship. Like, and real quick, I want to see who they lost to because I feel like it was somebody good. Um, they lost to the Colts, man.
yeah, so like you can't compare these two dudes' career, man. It's not even close.
You can't, man. Like, nah, you can't. This is it's not close, man. And if you guys don't understand what we're talking about, we were having a conversation right before we started, talking about people are trying to say that Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers' careers are aligning, like how they're aligned. And there's nothing that's happening this year that I've seen happen in Brett Favre's career. So that's what I'll say. I didn't see this happen. This never happened to Brett Favre. Like I said, Brett Favre went to the Jets, went to the AFC Championship, lost to the Colts. If that's 2008, that means that was the year that the Colts lost to the was that the Saints?
Mm.
Because it would be the 2009 Super Bowl.
Don't matter.
So
That's not the important
you,
part of it. So
it's not the important part, but the point is they lost to the Colts in the AFC Championship game, and then this team is not even sniffing the playoffs, and they're falling apart, and Aaron Rodgers not playing good. This is everything. Like, yeah, I never thought I'd find the day that I feel sorry for Brett Favre. But please, if I'm Brett Favre, I'm still hiding in whatever hole I'm in right now. But I have to send somebody out to tell them, hey man, stop doing that. Don't compare me to him.
yeah. Well, listen, man. Got a pretty good episode for you guys. I guess we should share this thing out to people so they can start trickling in here or
Do
something.
that. We could do that.
But anyway, man, you know, you know how we usually do this. We get into the Week 12 stuff, and so I don't know, man. Where should I be? Oh, where should I begin? Where should I begin? What I mean, everything started off with Jameis Winston, right? Uh, Jameis Winston being the treasure of a man that he is, laying down the words of wisdom, letting God speak through him. You know what I mean? Like Jameis Winston Jameis Winston and Mike Tyson may be in a competition for the most unintentionally funny people on the history of this planet, dog. Like,
Yeah.
Jameis Winston said, like, he was like, yeah, man. He said the Amazon thing, and then, like, just every quote he says and the way that he looks out into the world while he's speaking with wonderment. Like, I'm like, dog.
Yo, as soon as they mentioned the cold weather, like his hands went on his hip, he was like, just got a big smile on his face, was looking up at the sky. I was like, yo, son, like, hey, you know, everybody likes to use that term built different, dog. Nah, for real, he's built. Yeah, I'm just thankful to the Lord that I'm able to come out here and play this game in this cold weather. Like, man, this is such a great day. Like, you know, but even though it sounds funny and it sounds comedic and everything, I understand the mentality. It's like, how do you get people motivated to play in the cold, Mark? You remind them of where they came from, man. Bro, we are getting paid millions of dollars to be out here to play a game that we love. You know what I'm saying? And bringing it back down to earth for everybody on the team and saying it's a glorious day to be out here to be able to play this game. Like, granted, it's a little unorthodox the way that he goes about it. But, Mark, nonetheless, the job gets done. We seen what the results were. So, shout out to Jameis Winston, man. I like him a lot. Man.
I mean,
if you guys have been watching us, real quick, if you guys have been watching us for a while, we've been advocating for that man since Tom Brady took his job. Okay, so so yes, we are fans of Jameis Winston over here, man.
Yeah, so Jameis Winston and the Browns went out and got a victory over the Steelers. The horses were prepared for battle, and victory most certainly came from the Lord on this day. And according to Jameis Winston, he has the Amazon package waiting for him at his house. Like, he was out there, man. The funniest thing that I saw in that game, well, I didn't even notice it in the game, but I saw it in the clip afterwards, where it was 4th and 1, and he was and they were trying to draw him off sides, and he's just like doing all this stuff or whatever, and they not going for it. Steelers not going for it. They're disciplined. And you hear him say, "Somebody jump off sides!" Damn, like, dog, you like, I know you felt that way, but to say it out loud is like, you're just like the funniest person in the world, dog. He was like, "God damn it, somebody do it!"
Like he's very jovial is the word that I would use to describe him. You know what I'm saying? It's like he has a very. It's weird, man. He says all the right things. He does the things he's supposed to do, but he has a really juvenile demeanor about him, but not in a negative way.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's very.
It looks like he's making it fun for the people that's on his team.
Taylor Sports says I would have false started from laughing.
That's a high chance.
I can see it. But the greater question here for me isn't about the details of that game, but more so is, what are the Steelers doing with their future? Sean, you and I talked about this before, off air, but like they are in this perpetual state of stagnation, because everything that they're doing with the stopgap QBs and are trying to develop a QB that was thrown away or whatever, and it all ends up in the same place of, okay, we are 9-7. We don't have a losing record, or we're, you know what I mean, or we're 9-8 now. You know what I mean? Like, it's all the same stuff now. And it's like, what are you guys, what's the plan here? Like, why are we doing this? Like, the Steelers need to figure it out. So I guess that my question to you is, what do you think the Steelers should do going forward?
To be honest with you, man, I hate trying to agree with anything the Steelers do when it comes to the situation of not shitting and getting off the pot, right? But what I've seen from them in the past is they've waited and waited and waited till they found their QB. It's always their type of QB that they're waiting for, which typically means there's a tough, hard-nosed QB that they're looking for. Right now, I don't think that Russell Wilson or Justin Fields is cut from that cloth in the way that the Steelers want to see it, right? Big Ben, Terry Bradshaw, even if you go back to Cordell Stewart, who didn't really work out for them, he was still just a tough guy. Charlie Batch filling in, but this is, and I'm bringing up Cordell Stewart and Charlie Batch specifically because that's the last time we've seen them go through this period. We watched them in the 90s, and this is what they were going through. they were picking guys that were okay guys for stopgap QBs, and they snuck into a Super Bowl during that era, but they didn't. That quarterback did not belong in that Super Bowl, and it showed. They got blown out by the Cowboys. So, to figure out what they're actually doing here, Mark, I hate to say it, but I think they're waiting on their guy. Do I think it's the right decision? I think if it works out, it's the right decision. But I would also say I feel like there have been plenty of quarterbacks since we started noticing that Ben was washed up that they could have gotten, Mark. And that's the problem I have with what they're doing. But to me, it looks like they're waiting. And while they're waiting, they're just like, we're gonna be okay with barely making the playoffs. We're going to be okay with a 9-8 season. So I think they're staying pat, Mark. That's what they're doing. And I know it's what you hate.
Well, all right. If you think they're staying pat and this is what their plans are, whatever. So the second part of the question is, guys, big name guys, and guys that have legacies on the line are being wasted in the Steelers uniform as they continue down this path. So my question to you is, if you're TJ Watt and this is the continued path, all right, what are you doing? Are you showing loyalty, or are you asking for your way out?
I think I know what TJ Watt would do, but you asking me if I was TJ Watt. If I was TJ Watt, I'm out, bro. It's not a.
Well, I'm asking you as TJ Watt. Like, put yourself in the mind as TJ Watt.
Okay, in the mind of TJ Watt, I'm sure he looks up to his older brother. His older brother stayed with the Texans, cradle to the grave, for better, for worse.
For far too long. That should be a warning sign.
That is true, but he probably also looks at how much of a staple that JJ Watt continues to be in the community down there, in Houston. And he looks at his life after football, and I think he probably admires that as well. So even though it's not the glorious road with Super Bowl rings, he probably looks at his situation with the Steelers and says, I still have a way better shot of getting a ring than my brother ever had, right? I'm in a position where they let me do what I do. I'm for sure a Hall of Famer if I stay here. And I think that plays a big part in it. And the biggest part in it that I see him looking at is maybe JJ couldn't trust the Houston Texans organization, but TJ feels like he can trust the Steelers organization. And with all those things said, I think that you're TJ Watt, you stay there and you hope that they figure it out. You're hoping that you get your storybook ending the way that Jerome Bettis did, because Jerome Bettis stayed, and even when they were making him split time with other running backs, he stayed, Mark. And he ended up being pivotal in their run to the Super Bowl.
Matt.
Yeah. That's what I see.
Okay. It's funny that you say that. That Super Bowl run was 2004, 2005.
Maybe.
Yeah, that was the same year. That was the same year as LT, right? LT's massive year.
I think so. I have to go look back. I gotta look at for the exact year, but
I do know I got laughed at because that was the year that I had LT, and I do know I got laughed at for Jerome Bettis being my second running back, and because I went LT. I went LT two wide receivers. Back then, there was no PPR, and so it was a standard league. So going 2 wide receivers back to back was unconventional.
Yeah, everybody was running their running backs into the end zone. So it's like you're touchdown dependent, and you're not going to get a lot of touchdowns.
Yeah,
like, what are you doing going 2 wide?
But Jerome Bettis that year was getting touchdowns. That
2006. So it was the 2005 season. The Super Bowl was played in 2006.
Yeah. So that year I had Jerome Bettis, and Jerome Bettis was getting touchdowns. He wasn't doing a whole lot of running, but he was getting me TDs. So, and it was just interesting. It's funny that came up because that.
Yeah, but you understand exactly what year I'm talking. Exactly how it played out and everything. Like it was, you know what I'm saying? It was a special year for the Steelers. I will say that. Yeah, but that's what your hope is if you're TJ Watt, because the biggest thing is he doesn't want to leave, but he still wants to win a Super Bowl. But I think he only wants to win a Super Bowl with the Steelers, and it's an old school mentality, Mark, a old school way of thinking. But I think that he possesses that. I don't think that there's a lot of other players that don't possess that, which I think most players these days, younger guys. But TJ Watt seems like he's cut from the old school cloth. He ain't going nowhere.
All right. But yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much it. What is it? Troy says, I seen a video with TJ giving a pregame speech and he brought out Joey Porter in it. He brought Joey Porter in. He looked at that team too much of a family. He's not leaving. Okay, got it.
Yeah, culture is huge out there, and he's infected with it. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and I get that. I mean, but he needs to have that understanding that rings shouldn't be important to him. Like,
yeah, if that's the decision he's going to make, then absolutely, rings cannot be important to you. Yeah, and he might be an older player by the time they get their opportunity.
And the legacies that you are battling in the long run is going to come down to rings and all that type of nonsense and your impact on the big game. And you're not going to have a lot of opportunities for those impacts on the big games and the big stage because.
Well, let's be real. Let's just jump on that part of the conversation. For this era, you're going to be compared to Myles Garrett. You're going to be compared to Aaron Donald, right? You're going to be right now. You're going to still kind of be in the same conversation as the Nick Bosa. You're going to be Hutchinson right now is on y'all ass right now. If he I understand he just got hurt, but the way that Hutchinson playing, he's going to be another one. Like these are the people that you're going to be in a conversation with. And right now, it looks like Hutch might have a chance to get multiple rings. So Aaron Donald already has a ring. So yes, Mark, they are, as more time fades, as more time passes, they're going to look more, the rings are going to matter more. Yeah. And that's going to kind of diminish your legacy a little bit. Right now, it's crazy how they don't talk about J.J. Watt. But part of that is because he wasn't in a lot of big playoff games. So.
Right. All right. We had 2 games that just had massive swings back and forth, and like pretty much towards the end of the games, just like got really kind of crazy. The first game I want to talk about is the Vikings. The Vikings Bears game. In that game, the Vikings were up 24-10 in the third quarter, with 1 minute and 26 seconds left in the third quarter. And of course, Bears were able to come back and push it into overtime. Now, the details of that overtime and how they got there is kind of wild. Do you want to take us through that?
Nah, I'm gonna let you cook. Go ahead. You
let
cook
me cook.
right now. I'm gonna let you, yeah.
Look, let me cook. Look, man. Caleb Williams put on the show towards the end, man. He put on the show. Got an onside kick and everything. The Bears did what they needed to do as a team to get into that overtime. Now, once they got into the overtime, though, that's when Caleb Williams showed exactly who he was as a rookie, because he held on to the ball for what I think when I saw the video, it was like 10 seconds. Like he had the ball for 10 seconds, and it wasn't fourth down. Like, so there was zero reason for him to hold on to the ball that long and put his team in that sort of situation to go ahead and take a sack that put them so far back. Yeah. And yeah, man. What did you think of that game, Sean?
I thought, the two things came to mind. Number one, man, what the hell is going on with the Vikings, bro? They got to be the most inconsistent good team that I've seen in a long time, Mark. We're talking about, I understand inconsistency game to game, but inconsistency to that level within the same game is insane. That's insane. Like, so the Vikings is just a team that you cannot trust right now. Defensively or offensively. Usually when you have teams like that, just one side of the ball. I hate to say this, but Mark, they're starting to look like the Cowboys. Okay? That's the best. That's the only comparison I have. Show me a team that has talent, that looks great one week, looks like trash the next week. The second you bet money on them, they're going to lose. They might even get blown out. Then they'll play a good team and then beat them. Like, it's whenever the Cowboys have a hopeful season, this is what they look like. So that's what I'm looking at the Vikings as right now. But it told me that I cannot trust the Vikings for anything. Like, they might get bounced in the first round. With that said, Caleb did look good towards the end of regulation. He was making, let's just call it what it was. He was making the plays, the types of plays that he was able to make in college, on that comeback route. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But to me, I also saw bad defense. Not everybody's going to say that, Mark, but I'm going to say I saw bad defense. So some people were wowed by what he was doing, and I said he was able to do that because shitty defense. When he rolled out to the right, Mark, and he threw to that to the open guy in the corner of the end zone, I was like, there wasn't a defender within 10 yards, within a 10-yard radius of him. Make that throw when you're rolling out that way and he's covered. Lamar Jackson, you know what I'm saying? Show me something. To me, so even though he did do what he was supposed to do, Mark, I was not as impressed as other people. So, but that was the two things that I saw. I saw the Vikings being inconsistent, and I saw that Caleb was able to do what he should have been able to do all year, but I just wasn't as impressed as others.
Ah, man, you're a bit of a harsh critic, aren't you?
Yeah, just a little bit, Mark. Just a little bit. But shout out to Caleb. When I say he did what he was supposed to do, this is the best that I've seen Caleb. So I will also say that. So I'm not taking away from what he did. It's just, it takes a little bit off of it for me when you're down by a bunch. There's less pressure because you've been losing all season and you're down by a bunch. Like, it just takes, and it's something that we were expecting to see from you by like week 3, week 4. So like, it just takes a little bit, when you're excited about something, Mark, like let's say a Mayweather-Pacquiao fight, and then it happens 10 years later, it takes a little thing off. You know what I'm saying? It takes a little excitement out of it. That's all.
Okay. Understood.
Yeah.
Well, the other such game where it got really hectic towards the end was the Cowboys Commanders game. Cowboys Commanders game. I think in the fourth quarter they scored. It was 4 touchdowns combined in like 3 minutes. or something
Every
like that.
time I looked away, Mark, another touchdown was scored, and I was like, last time I checked, there was only like 2 minutes in the game. How are they scoring all these touchdowns? It was crazy, man. That was a very insane ending to a game.
It was enough to give someone whiplash as to what exactly was going on at that point in the game. I'm just pulling it up just to see here. So yeah, in the fourth quarter, it was 13-9, where the Cowboys kicked and scored to make it. Hold on, am I reading this right? No, not Cowboys. Yeah, Cowboys kicked the field goal, made it 13-9 in the fourth quarter with 8 minutes left. That was with 8 minutes left. That's when it was 13-9, and from there, somehow we ended up with a score of 34-26.
Yeah,
like
should have never happened.
We had kick returns for a touchdown in this game.
Kick return for a touchdown, yeah.
We had blown coverages that just let Jaden Daniels throw to people and just get downfield. Like, it was insane, man. Did you see this coming at all?
No, I didn't, man. First off, I thought that Dallas was on the road. Well, I'm not even gonna say Dallas. I thought Washington. I was like, damn, y'all might lose this. And then I was like, you know what? Y'all still got a chance to close this game out. It's the Cowboys. And then the kick return happened, Mark. So remember that made it 20-9. I'm not gonna hold you, Mark. I was very close to cutting the game off. I was like, 20-9. Washington has been playing bad. They haven't been able to find the end zone. It's over. 20-9, it's over. They got to score twice. Man, it felt like 45 seconds went by, and it was like, oh snap, Washington scored. Okay, cool. Like, and then from there, it just continued to get crazier and crazier. But I don't know what to think about it. All I can tell you is that I was entertained, Mark. I was entertained by a game that I had already lost interest in up until that point. As soon as, like I'm telling you, as soon as they got the kick return for a touchdown, 20-9, I was like, I don't know why I'm watching though. And then it's like, nah, don't worry about it. We'll take care of that.
Yeah, like, we're going to score again. And I guess, so my question to you about this game, or in general, is just, hey, what's going on with the Commanders, man? They started off hot. They were winning a lot of games. Do you, like, what's going on? Is it injuries? What is it that now all of a sudden they're just taking L's and bad ones?
First off, this is the most inexplicable L. I can't explain to you what happened here, right? Mm-hmm. But I can explain to you why they've suddenly looked like they slowed down, Mark. Everybody knows this, right? But people forget about it when it happens in the opposite manner, right? People always say, you know, it's always good to get hot at the right time, right? Everybody knows that. We watched Eli and the Giants do that. Let's be honest, man. We watched the Lions, not the Lions last year, but the Packers last year get hot. There's a few teams that you watch, like we watched the Ravens heat up last year, right? So, like, everybody remembers it when a team gets hot and right before the postseason and they make a run. Everybody forgets when a team starts out like 7-0 and then they fizzle out, but it happens just as often. And I think, Mark, what happened is I remember a point in time in week 2 or 3 that I thought that they were the most in sync team in the NFL, even more so than the Lions. I think they hit their stride early, Mark, too early. And now that things have started to settle down a little bit with the back-to-back losses, I think things have I think the high that they were running on has just come down to earth. They still have great players, but when you look at how they were winning those games and how many points they were winning by and all that stuff, it was Jaden Daniels making magic. It was finding everybody open, not just Terry McLaurin, just on broken plays. But when you live life like that on broken plays, outside of the not designed outside of the pocket plays, running your quarterback 16 times a game, it just wasn't sustainable for an entire season. And I think now that everything's just kind of come back and it's trying to taper off. Do I still think they're a dangerous team that could put up 45 on you again? Yes. But right now it just looks like whatever chemistry they had going, whatever was clicking instantaneously in the beginning of the season, that is not there anymore, Mark. So why the team chemistry is not there, I have no clue. But it's clear to me that the team chemistry is not where it was.
3 straight losses for the Washington Commanders, and they have the Titans, who just got pulled off a surprise victory over the Houston Texans. They got
Titans have one of the best pass defenses in the league, Mark. If passing is your main way of getting the ball down the field, then be a little bit concerned about this too.
So how do you see this going moving forward for them?
It's week 12, right? I think they'll start winning again. They'll start here with Tennessee. They'll win the games that they're supposed to win from here on out. I think the Cowboys' loss is their wake-up call. But I also do not think that they will be able to play above the rim like they were at the beginning of the season. They're going to play close to it, but they're not going to be that team. So right now, what's the record? Do you know?
7-4.
Okay, I think they're a playoff team. You know, I think they can finish out the season getting into the 7th, 6th seed or whatever. But and I think they're a team that people they're not going to want to play in a playoff.
No, 7-5. Excuse me, 7-5.
7-5. I still stand on that. I still think because of the NFC, I think they can get in it. They can get in the 7th seed, 6th seed, right? But yeah, they're a team that nobody's going to want to play. But I don't think they're going to be capable of knocking off the teams that are going to be in those positions that they're going to have to play. You know what I'm saying? If they line up with the NFC West winner, they can win that game. Everybody else, I just don't see it. I don't see them beating the Bucks. I don't see them beating the Eagles. I don't see them beating the Lions. I don't see, you know what I mean? Like, whoever they end up getting lined up with is just not going to beat any of the division winners outside of whoever comes out of the NFC West. And that's what the season ended.
Okay. Fair enough. Well, I think it's fair to say that just to put it out there, like, it would have to, in my opinion, it probably would have to be a 7th seed or something of that nature, because right now the Eagles haven't lost a division game yet. So two more division wins, and that's a wrap for that. Like just 2 more, because Washington is already 2-2 in the division. So so once they clear 5,
that's a wrap.
It's a wrap. So anyway, but speaking of the Eagles, I mean, we got here, and the title of the episode is "A New Contender for MVP has entered the conversation," and that's pretty much what it is, man. Saquon Barkley had a career night. He had a career night on Sunday. Sunday night against the LA Rams in front of a bunch of celebrities, and he broke the Eagles record with 255 rushing yards, 302 all-purpose yards, along with 2 touchdowns on the night. The man was absolutely insane. One cut and he's gone. 2 absolutely ferocious long running touchdowns for 70 plus yards. And man, the Eagles team looks like amazing with Saquon Barkley. Like the deficiencies that the team has in offensive play calling
gets covered up, man.
Gets covered up heavily by Saquon Barkley's running. Like Saquon Barkley is clearly the missing piece from last season, because I don't see a whole lot like that is inspiring from offensive play calling compared to last season. But the only thing that's different is you have a runner that the coaches feel comfortable relying on to just keep running the ball, and he's getting those extra yards. I mean, right now,
like 9 yards a carry last night. 9 yards a carry.
No, his actual average is like something like 7.9 yards a carry, thanks to last night.
Well, at one point I looked up and it was like 26 for 255, and I was like, okay, I don't know. Like, it was like,
I don't know that, man. I'm not doing that. Like, so.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about like his on the season. I think his.
Oh no! Yeah.
His average on the season is something like 7.9 yards.
Yeah. No, absolutely, man.
And I think he's averaging, thanks to last night and those big runs. I think he's averaging something like 3.2 yards before contact, which is crazy.
Yeah. So but it's you know what's funny, man? I'm just a fan of you. You know me. I'm a fan of the running back position. My favorite position of football. What we are seeing is something that we never get to see, Mark. Mm-hmm. We were forced. This is going to sound like hate. We were forced to watch Emmitt Smith behind arguably the greatest offensive line in the game. Mm-hmm. And then we were also, at the same time, simultaneously, we were forced to watch Barry Sanders behind one of the worst offensive lines that we've seen. We usually don't get a chance to see that caliber of a running back behind a great offensive line, Mark. And it's something that I always hope to see. I always hope to see the name running back go to a team that actually has the facilities as far as the offensive line to really let them shine. And it feels good, Mark. I'm not an Eagles fan by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not an Eagles hater, though. But it feels great seeing Saquon behind that offensive line and with that offensive group, where the teams can't fully just throw 8 in the box on them, because you got to worry about AJ and Devonta. And even when they don't throw 8 in the box, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it doesn't matter. Like, the offensive line is great, man. And I'm happy for Saquon, especially all the injuries, and feels like he's finally getting the attention that he deserves, that I feel like he's always deserved, as far as his production on the field and being able to carry an offense. It's got to be a sickening thing to will your team to the playoffs and then watch the quarterback who didn't do shit get a bonus or get a big contract, So shout out to Saquon. I'm happy for him. I'm happy as a fan of football that likes to watch a good running game. You put on a show for sure. And man, the only thing that would make this season complete for me, Mark, is if we get to see the true MVP race go down as the MVP race. It would be lovely for us to see Derrick Henry versus Saquon Barkley for the MVP race and conversation. Not just, hey, who's going to win the rushing title?
Yeah. So. Unfortunately, in my opinion, I think through no fault of his own, but through the fault of his coaches, Derrick Henry is out of the MVP conversation. So is Lamar Jackson. The amount of losses that they have as a team, at this point, like I think that's it's going to hurt them. I think Lamar Jackson is pretty distant, in my opinion. Like, or at least not. There is some distance, I should say. There is some distance in his between him and the guys above him, Josh Allen and Derek and Saquon.
Oh, excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to bring this up, but I have to. And I think this is the time to bring it up. On some people's MVP list, the race, they have Justin Herbert as third in the MVP race. Remember last time I talked to you, Mark, I said they had him at 5th.
Mm-hmm.
Now they have him at third, Mark.
All right, let's talk.
Am I missing something, Mark? Did I miss some games?
Well, I want to talk about this in general because I'm glad you brought this up. But outside of the amount of losses, I do not understand how Josh Allen is in this race. Like, I guess because they saying because he's the only star player on the Bills and they're 9-2, so that must be like, so that's why he's in the race. But in particular, he's not doing anything special. They're just the Bills are just going out and winning games, but nothing about like the games that he's winning or his stat line is anything special to say this is MVP quality play. I mean, I'm looking at it right now. He literally only has one game over 300 yards, and he has multiple games where he has less than 200 yards. He has two such games where he has less than 200 yards.
Yeah.
Like, what is it, Sean? Why is Josh Allen the favorite for MVP? Is it simply because he's a QB and has the best record in football right now?
Look, I'm gonna call it what it is, man. I'm gonna tell you exactly what I think it is, man. It's a lot of things going behind this, Mark, and I'm gonna be honest with you. The last two MVPs that Patrick Mahomes got, they wanted to give it to Josh Allen, but Josh Allen shit the bed. Let's not forget that they were trying to give it to him during that time, and then towards the end of the season, the record didn't end up being what it was supposed to be. He ended up losing some games that he wasn't supposed to lose, right? You know, they wanted him so. As much as we talk about the league wanting Patrick Mahomes to be Patrick Mahomes, I think it's more so the league wants the Chiefs to be the Patriots, but their face that they want is Josh Allen. As much as we see Patrick Mahomes, I promise you they want Josh Allen as the face. So they've been trying their damnedest to put him in that position, and this is the first season that he doesn't have Patrick Mahomes breathing down his neck, really, right? He's completely out of the conversation because even though Pat Mahomes had a down year last year, they were still talking about him winning all the games. This year, Pat Mahomes is completely out of it, right? So now he don't have Pat breathing down his neck, and you can't really put Lamar in that conversation with them per se when you talk about weapons, and that's what they're going to say, and that's exactly what they're doing right now. And they're saying, look at the record. Before he never had this record. He look at the record. He's not out there blowing games like he was before. So it's not that I don't think he's doing anything extraordinary or extraordinary that he wasn't doing before as far as his level of play, Mark. But his efficiency late in games has improved. And they're basically saying that's good enough. That's all we need to see. You're winning games. You're not blowing games in the end of the game. Cool. That's all we need from you because we're trying to prop you up. So I feel like the NFL is finally at the point where they're like, we finally can make him the face. And that's why the Josh Allen thing is going to happen. I honestly think I think it'll be very difficult for him not to win MVP this year.
Yeah.
He would have to screw it up himself.
Well, here's the thing, man. I hate this. I hate this so much because this reminds me of Cooper Kupp being cheated out of his MVP season.
Yeah.
Cooper Kupp, Triple Crown winner, 100% should have been the MVP. But they gave it to bum ass Aaron Rodgers. And here's the thing. I'm tired of, like, I need to know who's voting on this MVP stuff and how,
at least the names.
and how that works, because I'm tired of media personalities on ESPN and on FS1 talking about the MVP race and talking about, well, you know, Josh Allen because he's a quarterback, and they're talking about it as if it's something that's outside of their hands. Like, I'm pretty sure, aren't you the ones with the voting rights and the voting power?
Yeah.
Like, so
you don't have to be that way.
So you don't have to do that. Like, you can vote differently, and because the true MVP race is Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry, with Saquon currently being ahead. Like, and that would be the true race, but we're not getting the true race because you guys are pretty much saying on TV now that it's obligatory that it goes to a quarterback. So
yeah, it's crazy to me.
And I'm sorry, but it's just that when they say that, they say it like, oh, well, you know, the way that they, like, it's pretty much the MVP is pretty much a quarterback thing and blah 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 blah. Like, they say it like you're not the one that made it that way, and it shouldn't be that.
So shout out to baseball for having a Cy Young award, but beyond that, Mark, they're telling you in your face, and a slightly above average quarterback is better than an elite skill position player. Don't matter if it's offense or defense. That's what they're telling you straight to your face. You know what I'm saying? They are more valuable, right? And to me, there is no value in a slightly above average quarterback, Mark. That's just the point where you become valuable is when you're great. You know what I'm saying? When you can elevate the team. So, and even then, having an elite defensive end, having an elite pass rusher, having an elite running back still goes above that. Now, if we're talking, and then specifically to the team situations here, Mark, we've seen Lamar Jackson put up production like this, and we've seen what it's amounted to. It's not a coincidence that they look the best that they ever had.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, well, who do you give that to? It's not the quarterback bringing that value. So, but yeah, real quick, I wanted to go over Justin Herbert's stats right now because this is disgusting, Mark. I'm gonna point out the highlights of it. So Justin Herbert this season, he has over 11 games. He has 2,400 yards, 13 touchdowns, 1 interception. Okay, and in those games, he has 1 game over 300 yards, and he has 5 games under 200 yards. Okay, they are 7-4, Mark. I really want to know, like, why is he even being mentioned? Like, this is glazing. This is the most glazed that I've ever seen. This, like, look, man, that's the best term I could. That's the best term I could find, Mark. This is the definition of glazing right here. This is crazy. Like, that man is about to end the season with like 3,300 yards passing. Probably won't hit 20 touchdowns, right? might end the season with 19 touchdowns, and let's say he ends with 3 picks. 19 touchdowns. You telling me 19 touchdowns, 3 picks, 3,300 yards? You think that's an MVP? That's Daniel Jones' season. The year he made it to the playoffs and got a bag. That's Daniel Jones' season. That's what he's having right now. He's having a Daniel Jones season. I don't want to. Mark, I promise you, man. I never want to hear. They're making it to where I never want to hear this man's name again.
Hey, man. Well, me in particular. I've been on this train because I always felt that he is highly overrated as far as the way that they exalt him. I think that he can play, but it makes me not like him because he's exalted to a place that I don't think he has yet to live up to. But I mean, I don't know. This is what they do, I guess. So,
well, I did just mention Daniel Jones, right? So let's just transition right into that, Mark. Malik Neighbors. All right. Yeah. I don't know if you wanted to play the clip or not, but
yeah, I don't feel the need to play the clip because honestly, I'm quite annoyed with how hard he was smacking that gum.
Okay, fine. We don't have to.
Like I hate that clip because he like that. He's literally doing that.
Yeah, the man is angry, and instead of punching walls, he's aggressively chewing gum.
Chewing gum aggressively.
Yeah,
what is you doing,
man? Let that man live, man. Anyway, hey, man, you got to feel for him. Look, man, all I know is they pulled up on him in the locker room. They started asking him questions about what's wrong with the team.
Mm-hmm.
And the funniest, it's the funniest part of the response that I heard that I thought was interesting that nobody talked about was he said his first answer when they asked him what's wrong with the team, he said, it's not the quarterback. He's like, everybody knows more than me. Everybody knows better than me. So I took that as him saying, this shit was absolutely the quarterback. And then I took him saying, oh, everybody knows better than me as, hey, man, I've been trying to talk to these people the entire season, and nobody's listening to me because I'm a rookie.
Well, why would you
asking questions about it? It sounds like he's been trying.
I have a question. Why would you take it as him saying it's absolutely the quarterback? Because he said himself, he was like, it was the same with Daniel Jones. It's the same now. It's not the quarterback. I took it as him directly throwing, and then he said you have to ask Daboll about that. So yeah, I took it as him directly throwing a shot at Daboll in the way that organization is ran.
Well, I took it as both, Mark. And here's why. He's absolutely taking a shot at the organization, how it's run, and he's absolutely taking a shot at the coach. But when you're telling me that there's no difference between the $40 million quarterback in DeVito, a guy who wasn't really supposed to be here, then that's also taking a shot at the quarterback. You know what I'm saying? You're telling me it's exactly the same between DeVito and Daniel Jones. It's a crazy statement. So I think he's saying, to me, I took it as he's saying both. He's saying everything's fucked up. And I think he's saying that when he says it's not the quarterback, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of tongue in cheek a little bit. And then when he's saying ask the coach, that's very direct. You got to ask the coach. And he said, everybody knows better than me. So you can't ask me. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure he's bringing up points every day and people are saying, no, that's not it. So he's like, I'm done trying to give suggestions, So I can see the frustration. We watched on Hard Knocks when he went to go to the Giants organization and talked to them and they interviewed them and did their stuff, pro day stuff, or not pro day, but when they did their interview and asked them the questions and stuff, he specifically, you could see the intensity in his eyes. The man said, I don't like to lose. That man said, I have a hard time, because they're asking positive and negative. He said, I have a hard time losing. I'm not. You know, I absolutely do not like to lose.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, because it's one of those things where they're like, do you like winning or hate losing? Like, he hates losing more than he loves winning, man. And I felt like he was very clear about that. You know? And I watched that clip, Mark, and I immediately was like, this shit was doomed from the beginning. Like, they drafted this dude knowing how he felt about losing, knowing that they about to put this man in a losing situation. So now that we hear, I'm not surprised. In Mark, this is one of those situations where you say, this person's not going to be happy, and they're not going to be quiet about it. This is exactly that. So this is the first that you're hearing from neighbors, but this shit is not going away. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hold on. Okay. Yeah. So I guess the question for it is, man, what did Malik Neighbors expect?
I can tell you he didn't look happy when he got drafted, so maybe he expected. I think he expected bad, but I think, like, for example, Mark, you can expect a team to be bad, right? You might be looking at the collective of players, and you're like, yeah, maybe we're not going to be that good. What you're not expecting, going from LSU, because let's be honest, he came from a well-run organization, a well-run team, a very prestigious place, and things were probably done the right way at LSU. When you're graduating and going to the next level, to professional, you're probably expecting professionalism, Mark. You're probably expecting people to perform their duties as professionals. So I think that's the part where he's surprised. He probably expected not to be winning, but he didn't expect this organization. And I'm just speaking purely from going from being a college player to being a pro player. So now he's understanding, what I saw growing up as a kid, it was true. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
My eyes did not deceive me. Sometimes you think to yourself and say, I don't know what's going on behind those walls. And then you get behind the walls and you're like, no, that's exactly what's happening back here. Like, so I think that's what happened to him. He just probably cannot believe that an NFL team is being ran the way that it's being ran.
Yeah, I understand. All right.
I still can't believe it, Mark, and I've been watching the Giants for years. So I can't blame him.
All right. Yeah, man. Fair enough. Is there any games coming up that for this week that you're looking forward to?
Games this week. Let me look at the schedule. I'll do that first, and then I'll give you an answer.
And you don't have a game off the top of your head? That's crazy.
My team is in shambles right now. You got to excuse me, Mark, because I'm not looking forward to my team playing. You know what I'm saying? The team's completely in shambles. I do not have a game that I'm excited about. Okay, that I know off the top of my head.
If only someone told you that this was going to happen.
You gave me totally different reasons, but that's
neither here nor there. But if only
that is neither here nor there. That's fine.
If only someone told you that this was going to happen.
You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you just guess right. But here we go. So this week, the game that I'm going to be excited to see, man, it's already looking like it. Hold on. I'm looking to see if there's any other games that's going to challenge it. Nah, there's two games in particular, Mark. Number one game that I want to see is going to be Eagles-Ravens. Does that sound good? And then the secondary game is going to be Steelers-Bengals.
Okay.
The games are all Steelers just always find themselves in these, close games, these dogfight games. It's going to be a good game, but really that Eagles Ravens game is going to be the one. The Eagles, I think they have gotten better with each game, and I know before we didn't put a lot of stock into it because of who they were playing. Sometimes there are some times when you can watch a team play a bad team and you can say, I can see that something's there. I didn't see that something there in the beginning of the year with the Eagles, but I see it now, and I'm not just talking about yesterday's game. I'm talking about in general over the last 3 games that the Eagles have played.
Yeah.
Look, so you feel me, right? So I feel like you guys are starting to gain traction, and it's happening at the right time, unlike Washington. And then I look at the Ravens, and what makes this game interesting to me is not even the matchup itself, Mark, but can the Ravens get out of their own way? If I didn't have those question marks about them, Mark, this might be a game that I would say, hey, it's going to be a good game, but I think I'm going to lean more towards the Ravens. I absolutely believe the Eagles can win this game. And I especially believe that the Eagles will win this game if the Ravens continue to get in their own way. This is not the secondary to play around with, Mark. And all that running around and throwing the guys as they get open later and holding on to the ball forever, stuff that you get away with other teams. This secondary is not one of those secondaries, Mark. And if they try to play that type of game, then they're absolutely going to lose this game, Mark. So, like I said, but this is the game that I want to see above everything.
Honestly, this is the game I want to see as well. I don't see, I don't have a winner for this game yet, but I do think for the Ravens, the game plan should be is get as physical as humanly possible. Do not try to do all the finesse through the air stuff as much. That'll be playing into how the Eagles want to play defense. So get as physical as possible and keep the passing routes short. Don't look for the downfield stuff. Keep the passing routes short and try to punch the Eagles in the mouth. And as far as the Eagles go, this pretty much is a game plan of just get out your own way, man. Stop having these terrible game scripts for your first drive. Like, the script for the first drive is like so bad for the Eagles, and then it just never works. Like, dog, I gotta figure it out, like some way, do something different. But I also feel as though the Eagles needs to stop pushing the ball downfield so much in their passing. In the Eagles passing, they are looking like they are calling mostly plays like where the first option is somebody going further down the field. I think they need to call some of their shorter stuff and get the game moving that way and see how it works. But honestly, I don't have a winner for this game, and I'm not going to try to call one. But obviously, I will be rooting for the Eagles. But it's nice to see the top running backs actually being in the game against each other.
Yes, man. Running back battles, man. I love it, man. Like, so we haven't had a good running back battle like this in a while, to really look at. You could go back to, the days of Adrian Peterson, whoever else was in the tops at that time. There's a lot of running backs that were up there. You could say like Jamal Charles, you could say Shady, you could say Chris Johnson when he was in his heyday. But anytime Adrian Peterson was going up against one of the top backs, I was watching. But this very well could be a game, Mark, to where, they always say, whoever blinks first, whoever shies away from the running game first might lose this game.
Yeah. As far as your Steelers Bengals game, do you think, like, right now is the time where the Bengals kind of need to just get on the roll and do something because once you lose, I don't think they can really afford to lose any more games. They would pretty much
Yeah.
have to win out from this point.
Yeah.
Do you think now that T. Higgins is actually back and playing, that they have that ability to win out? Do you think they have that ability to win this game against the Steelers defense?
Nobody. I'll say this. I said this to my buddy that would hit me up about betting on the Steelers Browns game. At first, I told him, "Look, Steelers are hot," and then immediately I checked myself, Mark. You know what I told him? Nobody ever sweeps the division in that division. And then I said, actually, you know what? The Browns might get this game because of that. The Steelers are very hot. They're 8-3, Mark. They are ahead of schedule. They're a little too far ahead of schedule for me to be comfortable to say that they're going to win this game. So yes, I think all things considered, they've been playing so well. They just had a tough loss. It doesn't look like everybody in that locker room is taking that loss the way that they should have. Oh yeah, we all kind of agree the weather played a part. They still don't get it, right? So just thinking about what we heard post game from Pickens, seeing the way that they're tinkering around with this quarterback situation, seeing as though that they've won all of their division games except for that Browns game just now. I do, in the desperation that is going to be within that Bengals locker room to get a quality win. This is a trap game, Mark. I think the Bengals absolutely can win this game, and I think that they will.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, getting out of football, this is the last topic, but it's a very interesting one. There is a UFC fighter named Shi Ming, I believe, and she is a full-time doctor as well as someone that could break your face. And no one at all knew that she was a UFC fighter until she won the championship or whatever. Was it the championship?
I know it was like fight of the night. I know she won that.
Like it was like UFC Contender Series or something.
Yeah, Contender. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah, but she won just the other night, and that's when her family found out that she was even a fighter, and anybody else ever found out that she was a fighter. But the interesting part about it is that she didn't just beat the person. Like the person had to be carried out on the stretcher. Like she destroyed her.
Okay, yeah, I don't know if you saw the interviews that I saw. There was not interviews, but it was a piece. I guess it was a piece that they ran before the fight, because they'll talk to him and ask him questions and stuff. And she was talking about it, and she was like, "Yeah, I'm nervous. I think part of my problem is I go into these fights and I'm too caring. I'm too nice. Like I can't really fully commit to hurting people, right?" And she, referenced being a doctor, and it's crazy because like the clip that I watched that had all this stuff pieced together, it then shows her just cold knocking old girl out, and it's like, if she's holding back and this is what she's doing, that this is going to be a problem, right? so yeah, like but it was very interesting seeing how humble she was when they were interviewing her and in her interviews, and she was humble after the victory. Like you're saying, she didn't even tell her family, dog. That's crazy. Like, she didn't tell nobody. She's just out there moonlighting as a UFC fighter. so no, the entire situation is pretty amazing. It's pretty crazy. I did like that if you listen to the call for the fight, after she knocks her out, they say Dr. Sleep is in the building. And I think that's basically a nickname that is going to stick. Those that aren't familiar, there's the Stephen King book and movie, Doctor Sleep. But yeah, so yeah, no, that's. I mean, I'm happy for her. That shit is dope to see. This ain't for play. If you guys think that's what it is, it's not just a feel good story. She was out there kicking ass. So like she absolutely deserves to be where she's at, and definitely gonna be trying to follow her story and see where she ends up. You know.
Yeah, definitely. All right, this thing is rolling down on the ticker tape, but it kind of makes me want to ask the question. Taking it back to football, it says at 4-7, Cowboys got a win, an unexpected win, but a win nonetheless. And it begs the question: did this win open up their playoff chances?
I think it's one game too late. Numerically, yes, it does. It did open up their play. It kept their playoff hopes alive. Mark, realistically, it's a game too late. Once you're at 7 losses, I get it. Yes, we play 17 games now. You could be 10-7. Dallas Cowboys is not a team that could go on that kind of a run. So, like, if you want to be realistic, you have to assume that even if they play their hearts out, Mark, and they somehow click, they're going to lose a couple of games. And if you lose more than one game, if you lose any of the games coming up, then they're done. It's just very simple, man. Like, they're done. It's one game too late, and it's unfortunate if you're a Cowboys fan that you come into every season with hope, and then you get that hope snuffed out, in a very violent way. You know what I'm saying? It really hurts your feelings every year. And then this year, you get your hopes snuffed out early. They didn't even let you. They're like, we're not even going to lead you on this year. We're just going to snuff it out early. And then the second the light gets snuffed out, they give you a little bit of the glimmer of hope. It's like torture out there for a Cowboys fan. That's what I'll say. Like, if I was a Cowboys fan, I wouldn't want anybody talking to me about playoff hopes.
Tales of Sports says this win showed they don't know how to tank.
Thank you. They don't know how to tank. What are you guys doing out here winning games?
Hey,
did they sneak Brian Flores into the building? Jerry
Jones said that a Mike McCarthy extension doesn't seem so crazy.
It's the same person that didn't think a Dak extension seemed that crazy neither. I'm not surprised anymore, man. You guys got to stop being surprised by these things, man.
All right. Last couple things, man. Tyreek Hill, that citation where he got arrested and placed on the ground.
Yeah.
It was thrown out. Officer was a no-show to court.
Of course.
And that makes perfect sense. I wouldn't show up to court.
Hey, I'm saying, not surprised.
Apparently, I'm just reading the ticker tape for all the stuff that I wasn't paying attention to before. RJ Barrett wants to come back. That's crazy. And
he see y'all doing good. He see y'all win. But come on, man. Go ahead.
Yeah. And lastly, Baker, speaking of the Buccaneers, Baker Mayfield is suing his parent or his father for $11.7 million or something like that. No, he's suing him for $12 million from a $11.7 million loan that was supposed to be paid back to him with interest.
Yeah.
And Sean, you had a little bit more information on that, or no?
The only other extra information I had is that it was said that he asked them for the money. Mm-hmm. Like, it's a loan, man. Hey, man, when are you going to pay me that back? And eventually, it got to the point recently where his pops just said, "You ain't getting it back." And now we have a lawsuit. So, I mean, that's pretty brazen, Mark, to just say you ain't getting that shit back. Like, I don't know how you deal with that in the family, but
Well, it said that his father's company is Camwood Capital Management Group, and it's saying that he's suing them for a breach of contract. So I guess the breach of contract was when he was supposed to be paying it back and he did not.
Yes, I think that's the breach of contract is they were supposed to pay it back or pay it back within a certain time. And if he's just straight up telling you I'm not going to do it, then that is a breach of contract.
Right.
Yeah, so it's but that's crazy. Like that's an insane that's one of those I'm your dad. I'm gonna talk to you however I want to type deals, man.
Real quick, is there any teams that are eliminated yet from the playoffs, or this week would be the first week that a team would be mathematically eliminated from the playoffs?
This has to be the week coming up if nobody's eliminated. Giants are 2-9, and I think they have the worst record.
Well, at 8, with the current format, an 8-19 could theoretically make it.
Yeah.
So this week coming up is more than likely the time we'll start seeing teams get eliminated if they do. So that's interesting. But in general, Sean and Lester, do you have anything else? I think that's all we got for you guys today. A lot of stuff happened this week. Go ahead. Listen.
Yeah, I was just gonna let you know, I've confirmed that nobody has been eliminated from the playoffs yet.
Okay, excellent. All right, man. So, but yeah, man, this is the end of this episode. Hope to see you guys next Tuesday. You know we are here every Tuesday. Hopefully we have another wild week of football because it's always great when football gives us great storylines. Now now it's going to be the birds, the battle of the birds. That is the game of the week in football, and it could quite possibly be a Super Bowl preview game.
Yes, could be.
So that'll be fun, man. That'll be fun. But with that being said, I'm going to leave you with the same thing that I always do, which is remember this when you go out there and making your bets and you're watching these sports entities. Remember that it's only entertainment. This stuff is called sports entertainment. They are filed as a sports entertainment business. So that lets you know right there that, hey man, they can do pretty much whatever they want in the name of entertainment. So
hey, it's entertainment and it's a business.
Right.
Understand, money does have an effect here.
Right. Like you betting on these sports, remember that things can be slightly manipulated and that you so be careful out there when you're making your bets, and always think about it from the standpoint of what does the NFL want to see happen, or what does the NBA want to see happen. And right now the NFL wants to see the Chiefs continue to win. So it's always a safe bet to watch the Chiefs win.
Hey,
I meant to ask.
I was going to say, have you noticed the rest have been?
Yeah, ever since the hot mic from Pat, they've been throwing that flag. They got to make it look good.
Hey, them flags gonna be right back in the belt during the playoffs. I'm not even paying attention to this, man.
I guess but I do have one last question now because I just thought about it. How much stock do you put into the Chiefs almost losing to the Carolina Panthers? And it's not even like the Andy Dalton-led Carolina Panthers. It's the Bryce Young-led Carolina Panthers.
I don't put any stock into it, but I will say that it is a good thing. If you're a Chiefs fan and you're part of that organization, it's a good thing that it happened. Because now we can expect them to lock in. We already mentioned off this episode about how, hey man, it's time for you guys to wake up. We ain't getting these calls no more. I think almost losing to the Carolina Panthers is how you get woken up. The loss to the Bills doesn't wake them up. Almost losing to the Panthers, it gets your attention.
Okay.
I think we will see a different Chiefs team from here on out.
All right. Cool. Maybe Travis Kelce actually starts getting some passes his way. But anyway, that's all we got for you guys. We appreciate you for watching. I already gave my sign off. Sean, you have anything else to say to the people before we're out?
Nope, not this time. When the time comes for me to talk about the Niners, it's going to be a doozy.
All right. You heard it here first. When the time comes, it'll be a doozy. I know we're capping all the time, and this is probably cap as well. But anyway, we're always capping about something we're going to do. But anyway.
It'll be a 2-hour episode, folks.
All right.
No, go ahead.
But we appreciate you guys for watching. Thank you, and peace.
Peace.